We just pulled into the driveway of Glenfield Plantation. We're coming to spend the night tonight. And it's beautiful back here. Or it seems to be anyway. Just an old gravel road. And there's the house. Oh, how pretty. How pretty and quaint.
Which way do I go?
I don't know. I guess let's go right up to the front and get checked in. And I'm sure she'll tell us where to go. Here's the house.
Time to pull here?
Sure.
Are you sure there might like places people stay?
I don't
We need to find a parking lot.
I don't know.
Like around here.
Well, I still think you got to go in right there, darling.
You think so?
Well, where else would we go in? We gotta go in the house.
Well, I don't know. Just call this chick. Do you think you can go in there?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll back you.
You can go now if you want to see what's down here.
Well, we're just going to see what the heck we need to be. I figured there's a door right here, but I was figuring.
Well, there may be.
I mean, she parked around here for some reason. I don't know.
I'm sure it's at the front of the house, darling. Go down here, let's see what's up. It's just an old little barn back here. Yeah. Just an old barn, and there's my husband. Just an empty lot back here.
You can't use that video.
Why?
Because you moved the camera too fast.
Bam, just one spot. One spot.
I'm sure not going to use all that. You're getting on to me.
You just got on to me.
Alright. Make that turn?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. I guess this is where we're actually going to stay. I thought there would be like another place to stay. Alright.
So we're at the Glenfield Plantation, and the owner of the home, she's lived here her entire life. The house has been in their family forever. I mean, since the beginning of time for the house. And she was just talking about some of the experiences that she's had in this home. She never realized what orbs were until she started doing the tours, and other people captured them in their videos and their films. So we are having wine that she treated us to. She went to go get another bottle, so when she comes back, we're going to ask her about her experiences.
Well, we're happy to have y'all and come back to Natchez. They have a lot of things going on every weekend. There's something going on, you know.
Well, our first trip was for the Balloon Fest, and that was like in 2017 or 2018.
Oh, look, it was great then. It's been whittled down a little bit. You know, they don't go up sometimes, but they have so much fun in Natchez. They don't care if it goes up or not. They're all half drunk anyway. They have so much fun. One time there was blackberries all over there in that field, and the balloons stopped and went down in that blackberry patch. And I think the ladies need to go to the bathroom real bad. And I thought they were crashing, you know, and you just heard them giggling and carrying on. My God. I guess they were just scared to hear they were in the wrong place. But one man landed his bloom in somebody's over in the Dahlia in his bean patch or something. Ooh, he was mad because when that basket went, it just slid all over his plantation. He wasn't too happy. But that wind can get you. One that went way out near Selma. You know where Selma is? That is out in the bean patch, boy.
Yeah.
And it took them late at night to find them.
Wow.
Because the wind, you just don't go up when it's real windy. But they have a good time, and you think the weather was perfect for them to go up, and they can't go up. That's, you know, they get real disappointed on that deal.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, I want y'all to take all the pictures you want to in the room. We just had some people that left, and he picked up something that I couldn't believe. He took a picture of one of the rooms,
Excuse me.
clear as a bell. And the next picture, it looked like the room was all smoked up. And he took 3 pictures to make sure that it wasn't his movie, wasn't his phone. Every one of them was smoky. And then he got another one, finally, clear, and then he checked it again. He
And you
couldn't
said
believe
no
it.
more?
Then he had a light,
And what about
like
you?
y'all
What
were
did
talking
you want
about.
No, ma'am. thank
Okay.
you.
These are my house guests, and bed and breakfast people. We just enjoy them so much. And anyway, so y'all don't want anything to drink?
I'm okay.
Well, there's water and wine. Y'all follow me. We're going to go on in here. Okay, this room has always made me feel like I want to hurt and get out of it. And I didn't know why. Barry got on the computer and wanted to find out more about the Cannons. The Cannons are the ones that built part of this house. My great-grandfather bought it in 1880, so it stayed idle for a good while. Anyway, the Cannons built that part over there. And that part is his bedroom, and the other one was a sitting room, which we use it for a bedroom also. And he left the window for ventilation because it's so hot in the south. And all these doors are huge. And anyway, when she was reading more and more about it, she said, you know, I know why you never felt comfortable in the big parlor. And I said, why? She said, well, while I'm reading the journal, it says it was used for the wakes. When people died, the majority of the wakes were in the homes anyway. They didn't have any funeral homes or by the graveside. And I could not believe it. Mr. Cannon, he killed himself here. And 2 years after the Civil War, I don't know why, he was very depressed. This room, I'd never heard of it. It was called the fainting room because women wore tight corsets. You know, you saw Gone with the Wind, how they, and when they ate, they were getting a little wet. They couldn't breathe too well. And so both of these doors would open up. And so that way you can get a lot of cool air. And that's why that window's here. It's for ventilation. Everything, the big doors of anything to be cool. I don't know how they stood not having screens. I don't think they had screens in those days. They might have put nets on them, you know. That's why people died of the mosquitoes. Anyway, and this tells you what I'm getting ready to tell you. In 1865, just before the Civil War was over with, Mr. Cannon was getting to the point he could not sleep anymore. He was up all night long. And he heard a lot of commotion out in the yard. And he ran his children and his wife had moved in the back. That room was rented out tonight. And anyway, he ran and woke his family up. And he said, get up, everybody, put your clothes on. There's something bad going on outside. And so they jumped up and he gave them each a gun and the 10-year-old a pistol. He said, anybody that comes to this house, shoot them. And he came back, somebody was knocking on that door real, real hard. And he said, when you open my door, I'm going to blow your head off. And the man said, well, I am George. Well, he knew it wasn't George because of the accent. He said, I have a letter for you. Mr. Cannon said, then they slided on the door. And about that time, something started shooting, and they started shooting. I'll show you the door. It's a wonder it didn't kill Mr. Cannon. The bullet hit and hit the woodwork behind the screen near the floor. Tore up where the dining room is, and I wasn't sure about that. I always thought that room was a dining room. It wasn't. It was a bedroom. They had shot that bedroom up with about 14 bullets shot. Everyone to pane out. The little girl was writing about it. When they saw it the next morning, they couldn't believe it when the sun came up. All the plaster had been shot up. They were going to kill the whole family. And I don't know what it was, but somebody said that they had a group, they call it a certain name, and they go ahead of the Union soldiers so they can break the ice, get them out, do something, try to take over the whole place. Like, they're the ones that are so mean, in other words. Burn your house down, just anything. Then the Union soldiers come in. So I don't know what you call them, but it happened at Holly, one of those big little old communities up there in the Delta. I can't think of the name of it. But anyway, so I guess it could have been that, but they were out to kill them and rob. They were robbing the servants' quarters, and a cavalry came up, and I'm sure Mr. Cannon and people out in the country had paid these people to watch their homes, because this was way out in the country, which is nothing now. You can walk to town now. But anyway, we're the only one in Natchez that had a bad skirmish around it. Now we're going to come in here, and I'm going to cut the light on so you won't break your neck. Back on the story, we rented this out to an old gentleman, and his daughters were in the back. They were going to a family reunion. And so the next morning at breakfast, he was talking about it, and he said, oh, by the way, I got so cold, so hot, I had to cut the heat off. Was that all right? I said, of course. And then he was talking to his daughters at the breakfast table. He said, I don't know what it was, but the strangest thing happened. He said, as soon as I got back in that bed and dozed off, something sat at the bottom of my bed. He said, I could feel it. He said, it just sat right there. I didn't say anything. I just got out of the room as fast as I could. I could kick myself because I wish I had, been brave enough to start talking. And unless you live in a haunted-looking old house, you won't understand. You want everybody to feel comfortable. I've heard my name called many times in this house. One day I was up here at 12 o'clock in the middle of the day, and I heard my name called so loud it scared me when I realized the house was locked. How could anybody be in my house? So I figured, well, one of my friends is scared of the dog, so I had rock walls in. They were asleep and there wasn't anything going on. I'm glad the house was locked, but still, it startled me. But I've had my name called many times, but it was a whisper, Majorie. And I'd run and ask, what did you want? They'd say, I didn't call you. And my housekeeper scared deaf to go up there in that big going room. She said she feels like there's eyes watching her, even in the daytime. And I said, Teresa, I felt the same way. Many times I felt like something was in there watching me. And you really can feel it, especially in the evening. Another thing, this lady from California, now we had one lady that was here about 2 years ago that brought all her instruments and picked up lots of things in some of these rooms. She has a doctor's degree. She has written 6 books. She's been doing this for years and years. I never heard of it. Anyway, she picked up the name of Mr. Cannon's wife's name, and nobody told her about it. But she said, I went in there, and as I was in there, I asked, who's in here? And it said Jane. She asked, who is Jane? We could not believe it. That was Mr. Cannon's wife's first name. I'm never up here, so if somebody could be living in here and I wouldn't know. Yeah, come on. Now, their paint is the original paint. It's over 100 years old. And the cornices are bells of Ireland because Mrs. Cannon was Irish. And so outside you'll have the shamrock trim on either side of the house for good luck, and you'll have the trim on the windows that have the shamrock for good luck. And these are pine floors. The other part are cypress up in the front. And everything in the house is my family's collection. Our soil is terrible. We have no rocks. And I had an engineer look at that and he said, oh, well, painter can fix it. He said, but what is happening? That fireplace is nearly 200 years old. And you see it's dropping in the soil from all the rain for many, many years. It was just leaning. You buy an old home, they're wonderful to have, but I hope you can fix it all the time. The windows go right on up into the wall. We had a lady that was standing right there, and she had something that rubbed her shoulder and scared her to death. We had a lady in the parlor that felt like something had pinched her. The little boy came in, he couldn't take a picture of anything, he couldn't pick up anything. And in 2 minutes, a big blue light appeared right here. He took a picture of it and then it disappeared. Do you have that in your house? I mean, it's gone just like that. I couldn't believe it. I don't know where it came from. And one man took a picture. He was staying here, and I told him walk around and take all you want. And he took a picture of that mirror, and it looked like it wasn't anybody, but it was a shape of like a head and shoulder. My mirror is very dirty. That's why I rubbed it to see what it's about. When you have gas, that's what happens. This is a plate warmer, and about 4 or 5 years ago, I walked in at Christmas. I could not believe it. The mantle had fallen completely off. Thank God this did not. All of this fell. You can see where it cracked. When you get that and broke that. And the man that fixed it said what happened 100 years ago or 200, they used pins. And the pins rusted and destroyed. So that is like a puzzle. It's not all together. Natchez has lost some mountains because of that. Slaves, they're cyclists. They're original. Now, Mr. Brassfield, which is dead, did these window paintings, I guess about 50 or 60 years ago. And then the new part, my mother added that in 1950. And that's where it's always messy because of the kids. But we always enjoy it. Now, Mr. Cameron enjoyed entertaining here a lot. And the front porch was never there. It had only 2 entrances. The second entrance was he built. And he could have cared less about sitting on porches. This is where they sat and entertained a lot in the brick part. Now the brick part is where they had the sleeping porch, where it was cool and pleasant. But we slept there too when I was little. But when it got about 1 o'clock in the morning, it really was chilly. That's what amazing. Oh my God. And we always kept the blinds closed. It's been so hot, I've kept them closed the last few days. That way the sun cannot come in your house as easy. They're wood, and they really do keep that sun out. Okay, y'all, come on. I felt something in the room, and when I opened my eyes, there was a dark woman walking through. It looked like with a camel. Now, these are just flashes. They're not going to be very long. So, that's it, you know.
She's here a lot.
Let me see if I can unlock this. If I can't, I'm going to ask you to see if you can work it out, because my other keys are up on them now. Oh, Lord. Let me see if I can get this door unlocked for this woman. She could be sleeping in another room.
Yeah, we have our friend's grandmother who lives up in Iowa, and her house is 100% haunted.
Where'd she go?
And she sees orbs all the time in her house.
Sweet. Now,
Okay, ladies.
oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. Get the key.
She get it. I think she got it.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't show out, but they're always there. There's orbs.
My key that
I don't know. Yeah, she says she sees orbs all the time, and then there's a little girl that comes and just sits like this on the end of her chair and just watches her.
This key does not use.
So they didn't tell us this before we went to stay there.
Y'all, let's go out on the patio for a minute, but the mosquitoes might get us, so I just want y'all to be out there for a few minutes. Now, my people from New Orleans, they got the lights out.
She opened the door for y'all right around here, right here.
What darling?
Hey, come here.
Okay, I know where that is.
Yeah, it's around.
Go the other way, darling.
I see.
Yeah, it's around the.
Okay, thank
We're
you.
going around. Okay. I didn't want that in y'all's room. Well, those people from New Orleans came here for a few minutes, and it wasn't long later they had lights. There was nothing on them. I could not believe they couldn't either. Just do the best you can. I got the doorknob. Some lady grabbed hold of that doorknob and boy, she tore it up. And we can't get another one to match. Okay. The bricks in here, these bricks are probably about 125 years old. They're handmade. My great-grandfather had the brick factory here where all the Hampton hotels are up there on Canal Street. He owned it right on down to the river, the bypass, and everything. That was wood. The kitchen would have been right up there where that light is. And the barn would have been right on in the middle of the road, and the two servants' quarters that were really went with the house. And Abby lived above the kitchen. It was a two-story kitchen. You know, you saw it on the screen. These oak trees were planted by who gave it? I guess it would be my father-in-law or somebody. They were little trees, and they grew faster than I thought. We had to cut one of them down because, y'all, the roots went all under my house. I could not believe what it was doing to that part. Unreal. Don't ever plant a live oak tree close to your house. They have got roots that will go a mile under your house and tear it up. Back there was a landfill, and we never saw it because we had a lot of trees that screened it.
Now, what was this, the first bedroom?
Now this one and this one, they share a bathroom. So you gotta have a big family to stay here.
We share a bathroom with this?
Yeah.
Okay, so they don't have a bathroom.
Huh.
This one doesn't have a bathroom.
I mean, that's the journals from the house right there.
The journal entries, journal pages. Here we are in the outside Greenfield Inn. Old trees. Pretty back here though. Here's the front of the house. Parts of the house built in and before 1812.